So let me introduce you. Today we are pleased to welcome Cristian Duschner from WiseConn. Cristian is an agricultural engineer from the University of Chile and currently serves as regional manager for the Western Europe at WiseConn. He has several years of experience in irrigation, agricultural water management, and agrotech, with a strong focus on digital solution, irrigation automation, and the adoption of precision agriculture technologies. So it is a pleasure to have you here, Christian. Thank
Thank
you
you
very
very
much for
much.
joining us.
No, thank you very much for inviting me. And on this presentation, I will try to highlight some aspects based on my experience, my almost 16 years of experience related with water management, and almost 10 years working in WiseConn, directly connected with farmers and the adoption of these kind of technologies by the farmers, which is an interesting subject. I will try to transfer as well some real examples. Last week I was in Uzbekistan. It was beautiful country. It was a very good experience, and it is very interesting challenge by the human perspective. So I will explain in the following slides. Okay, so just to give a context of about the company, we are a 20 years old company. We were founded in 2006 in Chile. I've been working with WiseConn since 2017, and currently we are more than 100 people dedicated on to the manufacture of telemetry, hardware, and software for irrigation automation and water management. That is our core business, even though we have some adventures in mining and in industry, but essentially we are focused in irrigation automation, fertigation, and water management. And we have today 5 offices. I am in charge of one of them in Spain, but I've been helping the company in our expansion phase to develop more markets in Italy and in Australia. In general terms, this is our presence worldwide. I need to incorporate more pictures because today we have even more presence. But in general terms, we have 500,000 hectares under our control, our systems control, and this implies that we have direct connection with almost every instrument existing in agriculture, every soil probe brand, every meteor station brand, every solenoid, every brand of pumps, filters, you name it. We like to see ourselves like sensor and actuator agnostics. So basically, we can interact and connect with pretty much anything. Okay, this is our presence in 500,000 hectares under a drop control command. Drop control is the solution that we have in 25 countries. Every day, 4,000 people enters to our system, to our solution, through the website or through the application to irrigate, to decide if tomorrow they are going to apply some nutrients or not, to evaluate the damage of frost control, you name it. And we work and operate among all these countries through dealers. This is the way our business model. Many devices on the field. Here you can see part of our hardware. We like to see we like to explain our system in terms of the hardware as a Lego. So you put as many pieces as you may need in order to effectively control your irrigation system and to take the right decisions. So as you can see, we can control. We are controlling many elements on the field among these 500,000 hectares. And conceptually, our technology, to be clear, WiseConn is the company and drop control is the solution. But basically, we provide for growers an irrigation, a professional irrigation system and scheduler to allow them to effectively manage the water that they are using. This is the concept that we are trying to implement here. And to be more precise, we want to provide our customers the ability to control the journey of the water since they take it here in the borehole, in a well, in a master valve, in a canal, in a river, whatever. So they can take the water, they can fill their reservoirs, and to know how much water do they have in any given time. So then they pump the water, they filter the water, they apply fertilizers, they can control the electrical parameters of the pumps to work properly. Then we go to the field, following the journey of the water, and we can provide weather information, to open and close valves wirelessly, and to know the humidity on the soil, and to correlate everything with satellite, aircraft, or drone images. This is the picture that explains the infrastructure of our system in terms of hardware, in order to provide the clients or the farmers, the growers, all the information and the execution ability to effectively irrigate day after day. This is the main concept. Of course, we have a software, and the software and smartphone application and the web platform to interact with all these elements in an easy way. There's one important word in agriculture and in ag tech, this needs to be easy, because if it is too complex, growers, farmers tend to overcomplicate themselves, and this becomes more than a problem rather than a solution. We are trying to make the things easy to the farmers in terms of the water management. So one mandatory rule in ag tech is that the technology needs to be easy to use and easy to interpret. Okay. Now, putting some context on top of this, I am showing this picture, not to forget why do we need to irrigate in the first place. I'm not trying to here to explain myself in terms of physiology and biology of the plants, but in general terms, this is the fundamental principle that allows the plant to function properly. So we irrigate because the plants need to transpire and to exchange water vapor for carbon dioxide. So when the plant becomes stressed, the problem is that the stomata close, the gas exchange stops, and the factory, saying the plant as a factory, basically shuts down. So all the technology related with irrigation, the main goal is to keep the plant running, keep the factory operating. And in other words, keep the gas exchange flowing. This will be over another simplification, but this is the main goal, okay, in the end. In order to do so and identify that water is one of the most, if not the most critical factor for food production, among the years, the human race has been trying to control the water to master agriculture, okay? So at the beginning, we used traditional flooding system, and I've been traveling for many countries, and in many countries, still the irrigation, the way they irrigate their crops is this way, okay? So there's a lot of things to do, but in around mid-50s, one big technology that changes it was a game changer, was the drip revolution, the drip line technology that now allows you to apply the water way more effectively. The skyrockets the efficiency of the application of the water, but still it's not enough, because think about this. Just imagine that you have the best irrigation design ever, properly designed, all the mathematics well calculated, the head loss, the pressure, the power consumption, everything is well in place. Then you have the best dripper, the best drip line in the market, the best filter, the best pump, best everything. And on top of that, this was perfectly installed. So everything is neat and working well. Is this an assurances to effectively irrigate? The answer is no, because even though you can have all the best on the market, you could be making mistakes in terms of defining how much water do I need to apply and how often. So this is the connection is in order to have some more information and data driven decisions. Today we are in they call the automation era. So today we have a lot of instruments available in the market in order to have information to control our irrigation system. This is the perfect combination between these two technologies. Now, is this enough? We are on the top of the mountain now, and basically there is nothing left to do? No, because we have today the artificial intelligence breakthrough. And now all of a sudden, we have the possibility to connect all the information that we are generating in our farm, in this digital twin, and connect this information with some systems, with some software, with AI, in order to enhance the capacity or the capability of interpreting massive amount of data and to transform this information, this raw data, let's put it that way, into an effective recommendation of irrigation. This is not solved yet. This is, of course, under development every day. But I will say this is the next step on the ladder. Okay, some cool stuff that I have seen today. Our system, Drop Control, it's connected with more than 40 third developer parties through API, which means that my system can provide all the information that other software needs in order to create some advising and irrigation suggestions, and then go back to the farm and we receive this information, these instructions, and we execute. Okay, and this is happening right now. Something like called the predictive scheduling anticipate water needs. You know in advance, or at least you have a pretty good estimation about the transpiration of the following 7 days. So now we are going to schedule the irrigations for the future, not to refill the water from the past. That is pretty much the concept. If it works properly or not, probably not yet. That will be my straight answer, but we are going in that direction for sure. Okay. Now, what is the concept or our approach as a company to deal with all this technology available and with the challenge of increasing the efficiency of the water usage and increasing the yields because you are irrigating better, and more importantly, to actually increase the water productivity, which will be our main concept. In Drop Control and WiseConn, we are not trying to save water. I want to be clear on that. Our goal is not to save water, because you could be saving water, but you could be damaging the crop, the yield, the quality of your fruit or your product. It doesn't make any sense. So water productivity in exchange is a wider concept, and it's a better use of the water, thinking about the yield, thinking about the quality, thinking about the business and its profitability and sustainability. Now, let me do this analogy. Let's imagine that you are a new driver and you go inside a car and you see this. Now, it is impossible for someone to actually manage properly this new car because you don't have any information to know the speed, the fuel, the temperature, pretty much nothing. If you have some experience, you will be using your life vital experience to drive this car, and you have some arrows as rough indicators of what is going on, but you are not sure. That is the truth. So it is impossible in a condition like this to actually use your car properly. Okay, this is the analogy. Now what is the objective? Let's put some numbers on this dashboard. That will be the first goal. So let's go back to agriculture. In agriculture, we need information, and we can find all kind of sensors out there, all kind of actuators. As I said, many brands of solenoids, valves, pumps, soil probes, electromagnetic flow meters, meteor stations, water modeling, water stress index. So we have plenty of technologies and plenty of brands and alternatives to choose. But the goal and the challenge is to put all this together to have your nice and very clear dashboard, to have all the information to make decisions on based on this information. And let me give you some examples of the use of these instruments. For instance, soil moisture and weather data. Weather data, with the soil moisture, you will know the amount of water that available that in the soil, so you can adjust the amount of water and the frequency of the irrigation based on this these instruments. Based on this instrument. By my side, and this is my personal opinion, I think one of the mandatory and most basic instruments today existing in agriculture is the soil moisture, as a guidance, at the very least. Then you have the meteor stations, the weather stations. So now you can calculate evapotranspiration, the water that has been taken from the environment from the plants. Okay, basically water demand. You can see the rain. You can measure the rain, degree days, chill hours, frost event, and more. Okay. The goal of these instruments in particular is to provide you the information that you need to, here it says pistachio sweet spot, because this slide, I took this slide, we presented something similar into this pistachio conference in California a few weeks ago, but you can put the name of the crop that you like here. The concept remains the same, but basically the goal of this instrument is to keep in moisture in the pistachio sweet spot, the crop sweet spot, to prevent over and under irrigation. Most of the time we think about this technology to not to irrigate less water. But in many cases, in other countries, in Chile, I am from Chile, by the way, one of the biggest mistakes and the most common mistakes used to be over-irrigation, which is also a problem, because you are over-applicating water, you are not being efficient, you are wasting energy, you are wasting water, and you are stressing the plant as well. It depends on the plant or the crop. It can be more or less affected to the excess of water, but for instance, in avocado, it's highly sensitive to the excess of water. So this could be highly detrimental if you don't know what you're doing. Okay, so again, let's think about the dashboard, and let's think about all the numbers that we want to be on our dashboard, or our main KPIs, to apply the water in the time and in the amount that the plant actually needs. This is, by the way, a view of our platform connected with these instruments in particular. Then let's go further. Today, you can find some other sensors to measure stuff or factors or indicators directly in the plant, such as the dendrometers, fruit size sensors, temperature of the leaf, and some others. But today, there is available instruments available to understand what is going on with the plant itself. So it's not only to know the water in the soil, it's not only to know the weather conditions, the evapotranspiration rate, etc. So now also we can understand what is going on with the tree. It's like going to the doctor and to have your test of blood pressure, your heart rate. So it's a combination of measurements and a combination of instruments, but in the end, all of them, they are trying to give you the right information, the right data for you to make the right decisions. How much and how often do I need to irrigate? Time and frequency. This will be the main concept, to set the time of the irrigation and the frequency of the irrigation. let's put something on top of that. NDVI images. I think you are all aware about this technology. All these sensors, there is nothing new around this sensor. I am not showing you nothing new. I will connect all this part of my presentation with the human factor, and you will understand what is the real challenge today. But well, you can keep an eye on the entire crop, large extension of land under your surveillance, using satellite images to understand the distribution, the uniformity, where is the stress, the wear, and what. So today you have this technology available. And putting all this together in this screenshot, you can see the movement of the water coming from, this data is coming from a soil probe. Every color is a certain depth, 10 centimeters, 20, 30, 40, etc. So here you can see the movement of the water in depth. Then the second graph, it's showing you if the plant it's in the sweet spot, in the greens area or not. It's of course in the blue zone it's over irrigation, in the red zone is under irrigation. So what you want to achieve is to maintain the plants and the root zones comfortable inside the green line, inside the green zone. That will be the concept. And then below you can see rainfall, irrigation in blue, amount of water, input of water to the system in millimeters, and the output of the water calculated and represented by the evapotranspiration in millimeters. So here you have the output of the water and the input of the water. In other words, in this image, you can see an entire irrigation season and the behavior of the water intake and the water input and the water output of a specific crop in one single screenshot. Now, all of a sudden, we have numbers in our dashboard, which is great, because now we can understand what is going on and we can make better decisions. Now, the big question, is this enough? Going back to the car and driving example or analogy, if this were enough, why would we need Waze and Google Maps to help us out? So it is not enough. There's something beyond that. This is my message here, is that even though we can find a lot of instruments, a lot of technologies in agriculture related with irrigation management and scheduling and everything else, there's always something more to be implemented or to be developed. There's an entire universe to understand ahead of us. Now I want to land all this concept, and for me to highlight the biggest challenge that we are facing today. This is an extraction of an article for a few years ago in a specialized magazine from the US. It says, the ag technology gap, when promises fall short of results. So a few years ago, in an irrigation conference in California, we had a very alleged discussion with some farmers, because most of the time farmers, they think that just for the fact that they are implementing some kind of technology, sensors, weather stations, controllers, that will be it. I mean, I will be investing and implementing sensors, instruments, automation, etc., technology, and this will help me to take into this will allow me to make a one step forward. And all of a sudden, they discover they are not increasing the yield, they are not saving water, they are not achieving what was promised to them. Okay, so we need to analyze this very carefully, because in this same article, one farmer says, agriculture doesn't have an innovation problem. It has an implementation problem and a lack of integration between solutions. This phrase, I find it extremely powerful, because what I am trying to say, it is not the end of the road to implement any technology, our technology included. it's quite the opposite. It's the start of the road. Okay, this is the beginning of your journey to start to understanding things better in order to improve. Okay, let's imagine this. Let's think about all the instruments, all the sensors that I have shown you, but now imagine that all of them are in separate platforms. And imagine the challenge for you to use one platform for controller, one platform for soil probe, one platform, different platform for weather stations, one different platform for images. It will be a mess. It will be a mess. And this is one of the biggest challenges today, is the ability to correlate all this information in an easy way, and hopefully to create an ecosystem of solutions connected all together in order to provide this information in a proper manner. This will be one of the biggest challenges today. Our approach is exactly that. What we want to achieve with our solution, with drop control solution, is to cover all the elements related with telemetry, actuators, and sensors, soil probe, meteo stations, pumps, fertigation skids, flow meters, valves, etc. Also water sources, the wells, boreholes, the river, the canal, etc. All the elements made out for execution, and combine them with an entire AgTech ecosystem out there. We have our platform is open API, which means that a farmer can connect our system, drop control, with any provider out there. As long as this provider has open API protocol, we can connect both solutions all together, and all of a sudden the client can extend the capability of his services and access to this AI world that I just showed. Finally, it is the human factor, and the human factor is extremely important because we interact with people in the end. This is not automation without any kind of contact with people. There is not such a thing today. In the future, who knows? But today, so we need to interact with people, and to interact with people, every person is a universe. So one of the second big challenge here is to make the people to embrace the technology and to absorb it and to use it under their skin on the daily basis to operate the irrigation system. And believe me, this is not easy to achieve. It takes flight hours, as I like to call it, hours of training, a lot of questions, but this is critical in order to avoid this. If you don't implement any kind of training, any kind of guidance, follow up, people tend to be disappointed in the end. And this is not because the soil probe was bad or the information was wrong. It's simple. It's simply the implementation, the lack of implementation, or the lack of training, and this is the source of this frustration. Okay, let's put it that way. So to finalize, because I can see I am on time. To finalize, embracing technology, the human factor, embracing technology is critical. Training, and more training, asking questions, and of course, the objective is for them to use the data for the decision-making process, data-driven decision-making process. And as I said, last week I was in Uzbekistan. This is a screenshot of the whole project. As you can see, it looks like a mess. A lot of instruments, because they used to irrigate by hand, opening and closing every single valve. We are talking about 600 valves by hand with 20 people all day, every day, the entire season. So today they are transitioning into wireless automation. So when I got there, they are already operating 300 hectares out of 15,000, 1,500 hectares. So they are already there. but I went to the site. I went to speak with the owner, thinking about talking the following steps, the units, the telemetry, and so on. And he said, look, I know this technology works. I know the instruments that we have, it helps, but I have a problem. My problem is that I don't have the knowledge and the right people and the right infrastructure to use this properly. So before taking the next step, which is automate the full farm, I need to understand how to arrange my team, how to absorb this knowledge and this technology, be comfortable using it, and then we take the following step, which will be the full automation of the whole farm. And in, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I had to come up with this proposal of water management team structure, but basically trying to organize the owner's head about how to properly use the technology, divided in the strategy side, agronomy, how much water, when to irrigate, soil probes, meteosation, whatever. Then execution, scheduling, controller, and then operational aspect, because it is a guarantee that in some point of the operation, the valves will be failing, the pump will be have some problems, filter will be clogged, you name it. Many projects that you can find every season, and this is normal, but you need to be aware of it. And this in particular cannot be solved by technology. I don't know any sensor, any instruments that it will be replacing or repairing automatically your valve. I don't know any robots out there doing this automatically. So this is why I think human factor and incorporating people inside this model is super critical for all of us. Bottom line, all the technology, the purpose of all of it is, of course, to implement technology to optimize operation and improve the profits, to meet the regulations, to the water footprint, to connect the incentive programs, the offset investment with your farm, and reduce labor liability, early disease alerts, fertilizer optimization, disease risk and monitoring, all of these benefits. But I want to be clear on this. These benefits will appear once you have embraced the technology and it's already yours. You are comfortable using it, because otherwise this won't happen. Any technology, at least any technology I know, any of them are able to work like magic from the day one. It always takes a few steps, training, and flight hours. Okay. My final thoughts: what is not measured cannot be controlled. What is not controlled cannot be managed. What is not managed cannot be improved. This is why it's so important to have the connection and all the information, important information, the main KPI at the very least, and a proper way to execute this strategy, the irrigation strategy, in order to improve on time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Cristian.